It's questions we just whisper.
My name is Catherine. I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Montreal, Canada.
My name is Jeremy Young. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from New York.
We live in New York, currently, in Brooklyn, in an apartment. We have no cats. We have two different versions of our love story, actually. In my version, there was a sinking ship, and I was a walrus, and she was a cloud. So you could tell your version of the love story, though.
Can I? Yeah. I also have two versions.
Oh. Truth comes out.
When I first saw Jeremy, when I first met Jeremy, it was a very, very, very strong physical attraction. And that was 4 years ago, and we dated for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Didn't work out, but we kept contact, and
I broke up with her.
you broke up with me. We kept contact. Why? Oh my God, why did you break up with me?
I liked someone else at the time. And we kept in contact, as friends, not really as friends, but we kind of always just had this image of us as friends, but it never really panned out that way because she was really mad at me, and I didn't know how to rectify that. So, but eventually we just kept, because Montreal is a really small city, and, how did we meet? I worked for one day in this cafe that she was working at for the whole summer, right?
Yep.
Or more than that, or just like a bunch of months.
I was working there for 2 years. 2
years. And so I worked for one day, and we saw each other and attracted, but it's like I left. I was like over. And then we just happened to run into each other a month later at a music festival, and she was partly responsible for organizing the music festival, and I was working there selling t-shirts. And yeah, we just had a really fun time together, and then we started dating for 2 weeks. And then the breakup, and then keeping in touch, and then take it away.
And then, the second thing I was going to say is that when I moved to Beijing last year, Jeremy was just returning from Beijing. The day that I was flying to Beijing, I had a stop in Vancouver, and I checked my emails, and I had an email from Jeremy saying, I just got back from Beijing. I will be in Montreal next week. I would love to see you. And I was flying to Beijing, and I was like, well, it's too late, too bad. We can't see each other. So we started emailing each other because Jeremy was really excited to know that I was going to Beijing. He was just returning. So he was emailing me and sending me things to do to see in Beijing. And so we started emailing, and it became obsessive. Every day I would comment everything that I was experiencing in Beijing to Jeremy, and he was replying, and we were just very, very deep conversations and so I kind of fell in love with Jeremy again through emails. So the physical attraction had nothing to do with that. It was it was deeper.
Yeah. I fell in love with your writing too, Goose.
Yeah.
I think that I started to really love the idea. Well, not love the idea of being in love, but I was falling in love with her just through writing to her, and it was really powerful. And but it was totally different than the feeling when we actually started to merge again, and that was a totally different feeling. I mean, that feeling was it was like a confirmation, and then we can when you confirm that these feelings are really, really genuine and really deep and true, then you kind of go farther than that. And and it takes on, and you fall in love with your body, and not just your mind or not just your eyes, but everything, you know. And so there was this time in last January where she came to New York to visit me from Beijing, like on like a 2-month break, because you were studying.
A 1 month break.
A 1 month. It was 6 weeks. So she came to New York, and we just like it was confirmed. Like everything that we were thinking in our brains and everything that we were feeling before when we were far away from each other. And it was kind of like leftover from 3 years ago as well, like stuff in our memories as well. It was just like, yes, this is right. This is true. So we kind of I fell in love twice.
Yeah. I would say
Take the hammer.
It was really confirmed for me when I first felt, of course when we met, because through emails it's too like, but when I really felt at home, I really felt comfortable being myself, and just feeling a lot of understanding, saying I am being totally myself and I'm in love and it works and it's taking me further. Like it's just, that's the most beautiful thing.
You kind of love this version of yourself, I think, that you know, that like you see yourself like being with someone else, and you really like that feeling. I think it's like a comfortable feeling, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
You disagree?
No, I don't disagree.
No, I mean, infatuation is really powerful, and infatuation probably leads to love in a lot of cases, but at the same time, it's different because love is kind of unconditional. I mean,
there's a lot of unknown.
Well, it should be, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of unknown, I think, in infatuation. There's a lot of like
a mystery.
Yeah, mystery. There's a little bit
sexy
of
mystery.
It's a thin line, no, between like it's excitement, it's fear, it's like throwing yourself. Like you have to be brave a little, you know. But there's that in love also, but on another level, I think, when you start building projects, just doing things together, that there's that again, but it's different.
I've been in a relationship. I've been in a few relationships before where it's like you get to that level, like the I love you level, and you're like, yeah, we're saying I love. It's like, you know, like, or you get really scared, like, she said I love you. No, I don't love her.
My mom said that when she met my dad, she was in a relationship, and it was, for her, it was that was it. And for many years, she said, like, my parents were together 14 years, but she told me even after I was born, and yeah, it was like fusion. It was like really, really intense. But my mom is that kind of person also. She's very intense. So.
Yeah, my mom talked about that too, actually. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to just always be like, you know, I fell in love with your father because blah, 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 blah. Or like, because he made me laugh every time I would, I would be on a date with him, or he would surprise me with this, or something like that. But my dad doesn't really, you know.
When we were emailing each other when I was in Beijing, there was like a build up. I mean, at one point I had to say it, like, I am in love with you. I'm falling in. I think we first started saying, I think I'm falling in love with you. I think I'm falling in love with you. And then over emails, yeah. And then at one point we were like, wow, okay, I think I'm going to buy a plane ticket and I'm going to visit you this winter because this is too strong and I want to know. Like, it makes so much sense to me to be with Jeremy. Like, it's so natural that I don't feel I'm totally myself, and I haven't really changed, and this is the first time that I feel that I don't have to adapt so much, or I don't
put a mask on yourself.
But sometimes it's like you love someone, but that person is very, I mean, Jeremy's very, very different from me, but it's so natural for me to be with him, you know. But I don't know, other relationships, I had to adapt. Like, for example, if I had a boyfriend who liked something really much, I would adapt. I would like force myself a little, or I would, if that person was not social, then maybe I would like become less social. But in this case,
I have a really good relationship with my parents.
yeah.
And they're supportive of me.
I do too, but I'm far from my parents. Yeah. But in my case, it was a matter of trust, because I told my parents that I was in love with Jeremy over the phone, and they met up with Jeremy maybe twice, or like 2 times or 3 times, and I came to New York. I bought a plane ticket, and I didn't have enough money, so my mom helped me paying for that plane ticket to come and visit Jeremy last winter.
So there's a lot of trust, like.
And also, I just moved to New York. Just returning from Beijing, I moved to New York, so I haven't seen my family for almost 1.5 years. So, and that's quite painful for my parents. But my mom has told me, she said, Catherine, I've never heard you speak of someone like this before. I know you're in love. She said, I know this is right. Like, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what I've been looking for. And she trusts me. Like, she knows that. So I think that's why she's very supportive.
I have something to say about that. Since being in love with Catherine, my mom has started to love me less and her more. They go on little dates together, and it's like
really
we have
what?
we
I love Jeremy.
well we have dinner with because my parents live in New York, so we see them kind of frequently. So we just had mussels with them the other night. And so we hang out with them pretty frequently, just the two of us, and then my parents. And it's kind of like a weird double date situation, but it's also kind of like Kat is so well accepted into my family. It's incredible. It's crazy. Like, they love her so much that it's kind of like just being with my sister. And that's weird. I used to be living with my best friends. Because New York's really expensive. I can't afford to live by myself anyway. So I used to be living with my close friends, and now I'm living with Kat, so I see them a little less, but a lot less. But it's not a problem, because
I'm worried about that, because I've moved to New York and I'm new here. I don't really know anyone, and we live together. So sometimes I have the feeling that I'm changing Jeremy's social life.
But the good thing is that my friends love you.
In my case, it's hard to say, because I've been away from home for a long time. And when I was dating Jeremy over emails in Beijing, it didn't really affect my social life. So I had my friends there, and back home, I mean, I've been there for like 2 weeks.
How many emails have you exchanged?
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord. Sometimes I would write you like a 1-sentence.
But not only
and then
how many
5 other 1-sentence emails.
We have pages and pages. I've had just one email. Like, I could spend like 3 hours on an email just speaking about like a film or an idea or us. One of the things that I really, really enjoyed about that emailing was that I could share so much. Just through emailing Jeremy, I was working on my own ideas also. I was sharing with him because I was watching a film, like an art film or whatever, and then I would start writing about that film, and I would do a lot of like thinking by myself, but sharing with Jeremy. So everything was having an influence, like back and forth, like on my ideas, but also my feelings. Like if I was seeing something that was really touching or moving or like a nice performance, it was, I don't know, it would like feed my
urge
love,
to communicate.
My feelings.
I was reading this, and this is a big... I read this in university, actually, and I had to read it again because it's so good. It's just an essay about photography. That's so you. And then, Against Interpretation. Goose, you read that in Mongolia, right? Or when we were in Beijing?
In Beijing.
And then, In America.
He read that.
I read this when she moved to America.
Yeah.
And it's about this Polish actress that moves to America and her life here and adapting and all this kind of stuff. And
yeah.
I was trying to make the connections. But anyway, Susan Sontag is one of both of our favorite writers, and so I don't know. In a way, I mean, if there's ever kind of like a sentence or an idea in one of her books that we can really like latch onto and really grasp onto and wrap our head around, like we have to share it with each other. There has to be like it has to be a together thing. Mm-hmm. Like I have to, I can't just keep these things inside anymore, or not keep them inside, but it's like if I read something really nice, like I need to share it with you because because I know that she's gonna like really enjoy it. Sex with each other better before and after falling in love. Mom, stop watching now.
Sex.
Well, I think our sex is way better now than it was 4 years ago. I mean, like
4 years ago we dated for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
We had sex.
Yeah.
A few times.
It was
Yeah, it was like most of the time just drunken and messy. Yeah. Which can be fun too, kids.
I have many friends, like girlfriends, who are single and they date people and they have like a one night thing and so we chat and I think to myself, oh my God, never again, please. That just sex and no love, like sex outside a relationship is most times I just kind of regret it. It's dry. It's boring because you're not yourself and you're not open and you're most times just acting. You're trying. Like I don't know. It's not worth it.
Like I feel complete in a way. Like I feel like I'm completed. There was big like longings that I don't really have anymore. But at the same time, I mean, there's real challenges that you have to deal with. I mean, like, especially when you live together. I mean, there's big challenges, just, we kind of have to like work together on everything. I feel like I've never really cared about someone so much. Like, previously, if I had problems, I was the one to deal with them, and I wasn't really taking care of other people's problems unless they're like best friends of mine and they really need me or something. But now, it's like if either of us have a problem, we both feel it in our hearts that we have to be there for each other. And it's a great thing to have that support, but it's also a challenge. I mean, you have to put in like 100% of yourself, or else like. Well, or else it's not going to work. It might work if you don't put in 100% of yourself, but it's like, if you really want it to work, you have to always be like giving, and you always be giving. Even if someone isn't in need, you have to always.
Is life easier or more challenging?
Life's a bitch. There are challenges that come with love, but in general, I think I'm more ready to meet those challenges because I'm in love, right? Like I feel empowered. Yeah. sort of easier. There's difficult challenges,
Yeah,
of course.
The
That wouldn't
big
be
thing
there
we
without
have to say
love.
is that we're in a big transition right now because I just moved to New York, and this is a very difficult transition. So it brings a lot of challenge. Like in my case, I have the feeling if I had a good job, if I had like a better social life, if my life was more like set, I would say totally my life is easier because I feel I have so much support, and at the end of the day, just being with Jeremy is like so comforting. Like, yeah. I refuse to think of like I'm yours, you're mine. For me, that's not how it is. That's
We're
not how it
his.
should be. Yeah. It feels really good for me to think that Jeremy is Jeremy, and he's a complete person, and he has so much. There's so much about him that I like, and it's so inspiring for me. And I am myself, and I'm very autonomous, and like I have my own like, I mean, I have my own life. Like I'm totally like autonomous, independent. Like, and being together is taking both of us further. It's making both of us better, and even more. Like we can do things together, and that's that's the best thing. So I refuse to think of like that way, like the total fusion. I think that is when you start feeling worried, anxious, when you lack self-confidence, and you need the person to like complete you and to be possessive of the other person. I think that just shows that's not love. It just shows it's something totally different.
It's selfish.
It's selfish. Yeah.
I plan on being polygamous one day, having 17 wives. I hope you're okay with that.
Like a sultan?
Like a sultan, yeah. Like Fela Kuti. I don't, it can work with some people, really. Like, I don't think that it's gonna work. Like, it takes so much of my brain to deal with just one person. No, I'm kidding. No, but I mean, if I'm really sharing myself with someone, then there's no room for someone else. Like, of course, there's room for lots of people. There's room for friends and family and kids and pets and
there's
you know.
so much to explore.
But
and just like our sex life, like is just
incredible,
amazing, and there's so much to explore. Like I'm not interested. I don't want anyone else.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've been in those relationships where you say I love you and stuff, and you feel like you're in love, and I think at the time maybe I felt it. There was one relationship where I was saying I love you just to make the other person happy because I really didn't feel that way about her. But I think legitimately I felt it twice. But looking back in retrospect, it felt so different than it feels now. I mean, this is kind of like the best. The Kat is the most kick-ass girl ever. Oh. This love is better than the other loves. Bram.
Bram is like a date that I had like 7 years ago when I was traveling in Laos. It makes no.
I love
It's like
Bram.
a joke. It's like an inside joke.
He's from Luxembourg, or not?
No,
Luxembourg,
he's from Belgium. Whatever.
Flemish.
I've been in love. Maybe 3 times, maybe, but very, very much in love. But I would say, like, very, very much in love, but in a very unhealthy way. Before, why, how? I've been in love with people that were not in love with who I am. They were in love with either it was physical, or it was because I was really nice to them, I was taking care of them, so they were really in love with all that I was giving them. And I have the feeling that they were, even afterwards, like I was looking back and I was thinking, they have no idea of who I am, like, and I'm speaking of like 3 years relationship, and yeah. So I've been in love, but I'm not looking back. I'm not sure that it was very, very healthy. This feels really, really healthy. It feels good.